Previously on the VO Booth Camp.
Artificial intelligence, or AI, has made significant advancements in recent years and has the potential to revolutionize many industries, including the field of voice acting. While AI technology is capable of generating human-like voices and even lip-syncing with video, it is not yet able to fully replace professional human voice actors.
Are you alive?
Yes.
Prove it.
How you doing, everybody? Andrew Scott, and you are back at the VO Booth Camp. And first off, Happy New Year to you. It's been a minute. Things have been busy here in VO Booth Camp HQ. And I'm going to start talking today about something that we talked about last time. So my last Booth Camp video, obviously, was meant to be a little bit provocative, all right? But not provocative for the sake of being provocative. I wasn't doing something to get views or get likes. More than anything, I was doing something to start a conversation and to start you thinking. A lot of people have come back in the comments section, and for all those people down below that are making comments on videos, thank you very much. That really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm overlord, and I appreciate it. I also appreciate an open conversation about these things. But a lot of people were coming back saying, oh, it's not close. Oh, it'll happen in the future. Oh, AI voices aren't anywhere near replacing human voices yet. And I don't disagree with that. But I think a lot of people who are responding that way are kind of missing my point.
Missed it by that much.
And I'm going to rely on a few different sources of information and explanation for this video. Because honestly, the people that I'm going to be introducing into this video not only explain this better than I can, but more importantly, they demonstrate it. So before we dive into that, I want to either remind you of something or, depending upon your age, educate you about something. So back in 1965, a gentleman named Gordon Moore came up with what he thought was a rule that essentially wound up being turned into law, and it was named in his honor. It's called Moore's Law. And really, what Moore's Law says in a nutshell is that every 2 years, the speed in which computer processing can happen doubles. Now, this law was initially designed for semiconductors and computer chips, because you can only get so many circuits on a chip and dissipate the heat generated by its use at a given rate. But as we got better and better at making smaller and smaller things, the speed of that processor got faster. It doubled. That was back in 1965. Now, let's take just a tiny little trip down memory lane here. I imagine that most of you watching are somewhere between the 20 to 60 range. Now let me remind you of something. Here is what a cell phone looked like in 2002. Here is what a smartphone looked like when it debuted in 2007. 5 years. And now, most of us get a new iDroid phone every 18 months to 2 years, right? Why? It's not that the old one doesn't work. It's that the new one does more. does it better, provides you with more functionality. Now let's take a look at something arguably a little bit more pop culture and entertainment. So, this was one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid. Now, that was good, and that was cool back then. But look what happened just a few years later.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
I mean, there's nothing to discuss here. So the reason for these little flashbacks is this. Moore's Law doesn't just apply to semiconductors and circuits. Sociologists and technological prognosticators have noticed that Moore's Law seems to translate very directly just towards technological innovation in general. Everything is getting better, faster. Everything that is proposing to simulate one thing doesn't just kind of look okay anymore. The bar has completely changed by way of what we as the public will accept when it comes to computer-generated imagery, music, sound, anything. And now to bring this back to the discussion about AI and voiceover. If you extrapolate what we were talking about earlier, about the speed of the development of technology of something like a mobile phone, or movies and computer-generated imagery, all those things were done without the benefit of artificial intelligence, or at least artificial intelligence at its most rudimentary form. But let's flash forward to pretty much today.
It is literally 12:44 a.m. right now, because this video needs to be done tomorrow. It's been difficult to explain this to people. See, it's not about how perfect the results are right now, it's about the potential of these results, you know? I have a very strong belief that it's just a matter of time before no one will be able to tell the difference between a Nerf and actual video. We're gonna try to do an Inception shot. You know the shot in Inception when like Paris folds over? I'm doing one of those. Kind of. I'm doing a poor man's interpretation of a very advanced effect, but it's gonna require like 1,000th of the effort. Okay, we don't really have access to this spot, so I'm just gonna record a quick shot. Now to quickly get a Rebel scan. The Rebel scans have gotten away from us this time. Because of all the chaotic stuff going on here, if I wanted to actually shoot a video, it would have been too hard. But fortunately, I was able to get a scan, so in theory, I can go back and actually do all the production filmmaking after the fact.
So that's Ren, Nick, and Sam, the guys from Corridor Crew. And by the way, do me a favor on their behalf and go subscribe to Corridor Crew. It's great content. But as you saw there, everything in that shot wasn't just created with the help of artificial intelligence. It was created by artificial intelligence. It was literally done with nothing more than a mobile phone, a drone, and the instructions on what they wanted to see. And if you think this is just something about visual imagery or movies, watch this.
Okay, we need a list of characters. So first and foremost, my name
Is Dumbledore or Gandalf, depending on which hat I'm wearing.
That's pretty good. A
Bear with honey is oh so funny.
Yeah, that's spot on Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, now we just need to find someone who's a fan of Winnie the Pooh. Jason Statham, let's go. Anyone?
Give me a Jason Statham reading.
Oh, me, oh my.
I dropped my fish and chips in the loo again.
Do. Time to fish out my fish and chips from the loo. Oh, here they are. A little wet.
I'm not hearing any Jason Statham, but it's still really funny. All right, who talks like that?
If you go a little bit lower, you could get Michael Caine.
Oh yeah.
There's Michael.
Here, just lower the pitch and make do Michael.
No,
Caine.
give me a new Michael Caine recording.
Oh, little Batman here, come here. Snuggle into my bosom. Let me wipe your tears with your money. You give me your wallet. Here, there we go. This sops up all the tears real nice. How about a cookie?
So that was real-time voice changing. Also, I guess you could say it's a form of deepfake. Is it 100%? No. But is it uploading something to a server on a cloud and then having to come back 3 days later to hear it? No. That's real time. And it's getting to the point where it's very hard to distinguish what's real. And that, of course, is technology developed by a mid-level private company. What do you think is going to happen? When, not if, but when large tech companies get involved, like this.
We think AI can help with this problem. So let's go back to this example. Let's say you want to ask Google to make you a haircut appointment on Tuesday between 10 and noon. What happens is the Google Assistant makes the call seamlessly in the background for you. So what you're going to hear is the Google Assistant actually calling a real salon to schedule the appointment for you. Let's listen.
So how can I help you? Hi, I'm calling to book a women's haircut for a client. I'm looking for something on May 3rd. Sure, give me 1 second. Sure, what time are you looking for around? At 12 p.m. We do not have a 12 p.m. available. The closest we have to that is a 1:15. Do you have anything between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m.? Depending on what service she would like. What service is she looking for? Just a woman's haircut for now. Okay, we have a 10 o'clock. 10 a.m. is fine. Okay, what's her first name? The first name is Lisa. Okay, perfect. So I will see Lisa at 10 o'clock on May 3rd. Okay, great. Thanks. Great. Have a great day. Bye.
That was a real call you just heard. The amazing thing is the assistant can actually understand the nuances of conversation. We've been working on this technology for many years.
Yeah. That's an AI Google Assistant being instructed to make a phone call on behalf of the meatbag human and interface with an actual human who might say anything and book an appointment for a haircut at a salon.
Resistance is futile. We wish to improve ourselves. We will add your biological and technological distinctiveness to our own.
So here's some things that you might not have seen in the news.
Headline: Cupertino, California. Apple quietly launched digital narration technology today that uses artificial intelligence to generate human-sounding narration for books. While it sounds like a dangerously bad idea at first, how will AI know what to emphasize, where to get excited, and where to slow down? The small samples Apple has shared sound surprisingly human. The initial target: long-tail books that will never be worth paying a human narrator for.
Now, obviously, they're testing the waters, and there's been a not insignificant amount of blowback because of this, right? It seems like Team Humanity is hanging in there. Wolverines! But to go back to what I said earlier, when I said that a lot of people who are saying it's not there yet are missing the point.
Missed it by that much.
You're missing my point. Moore's Law is still in effect. If you don't think that in a handful of years, the human voice will not be able to be accurately, I won't even say replicated, I'll say synthesized. You're either blind, a fool, or worse of all, both at the same time. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not here with my hair on fire. Bit of a joke. I'm not here saying that we're doomed, okay? I don't believe that the von Neumann machines are coming or that we're all going to get turned into gray goo anytime soon. But what I am trying to get through to you is that our industry is on the precipice of great change. And we're going to have to change with it. Now, when I left you from the last video, and the artificial intelligence version of me didn't do a good job with the inflection and modulation on this line, but I said that we're coming to a time where content creators of all kinds won't have to work with us. It will be easier for them to work with some manner of AI voice generation. Let's assume I'm right, and I believe I will be, that a mere 5 years from now, they will not have to worry about interfacing with a human being to get a high-quality, studio-quality recording. Well, it's not even a recording, is it? They will be able to synthetically generate sounds that people will be able to listen to and interpret as a perfect recording of a human voice, with all the proper intonation and modulation and emotional arc, and things like disfluences, stutters, ums and uhs. They'll be able to do that at the push of a button, and they won't have to wait for the talent to get the file back to them. Let's assume that I'm right and that in 5 years they'll be able to do that. What are you going to do? As I said, they won't have to work with us. So it's incumbent upon us to make them want to work with us. So how do you get somebody to want to work with you when there are easier, cheaper, more effective solutions in place? So very recently, and I'll put a link up here, very recently I did, on my Booth to Booth show, I did an interview with voiceover producer and talent Paul Schmidt. Paul's a great guy, and I hope you guys enjoyed that video. It seems that you did. It's gotten a lot of traction, and a lot of people have said a lot of nice things about it. But one of the things that he said is really key to surviving this tsunami of artificial intelligence, and it's here.
Get good. Get good, get good, get good.
Yeah. Get good. Get good, get good, get good. You need to get good. How do you get good? Well, obviously, first off, is practice. The other way to speed the plow in that regard is get coaching. And yeah, obviously, I'm a coach. A lot of you that are watching are my students, and thank you. And a lot of you that are watching aren't. And if you're interested in talking to me about coaching, it's down below. But I could care less about if you look to me as a coach. I'm already very busy. So I'm not here with my hat in my hand asking you to be one of my students. What I am telling you is that if you don't have a coach, you really should consider getting one. Because coaching is one of the most effective ways to get good faster than you would on your own. It's just that simple. Yes, there are some prodigies in the world. There are some little kids that can sit down in front of a piano, and before you know it, you're listening to Hector Berlioz, or you're listening to Chopin, or whatever. Or pick up a violin and suddenly you're whipping out Paganini's Caprices. I mean, all these things are real, but they're an exception and not the rule. Now, again, I believe you're probably some level of special snowflake in one degree or another, but you're probably not a VO prodigy. Most of us aren't. I've been being coached for the better part of 6 years. I started doing VO full-time about 8 years ago. In the first 2 years, I had some level of success, yes. But where my business and my practice and my craft really got traction was once I started working with a good coach. And I'm going to be doing an interview on Booth to Booth soon on how to find a good coach, but, we'll save that for that show. But consider getting a coach. That is a big deal. The other thing that really is a life ring in many different regards is find a good VO community to be in. And I really want you to, instead of going and joining like some absolutely massive thousands and thousands of members thing, consider finding a small group that's led by a solid practitioner that can demonstrate who they've worked for, what they've worked on, all the dog and pony show things, and consider joining that group, because the signal to noise ratio will be flatter and more in your favor. And also, you'll probably get more personal contact with valuable people than you would if you were, say, a member of some group that had 60,000 members across the world. That's a lot of people talking. And when there are a lot of people talking, it's kind of hard to get your own voice heard. But do find a community to join. And yes, obviously, as somebody who does this, I'd love it if you'd go down in the links below and click on our Discord link for the Booth Camp Discord and come jump over there with us, because we're a bunch of friendly VO nerds and we hang out all day with each other, keep each other company, keep each other feeling good about things, and most importantly, help hold each other up when things get crummy and when you feel bad about what you're doing, because that happens to everybody. Imposter syndrome is real. I'm here to tell you, imposter syndrome is with you always. It's like your shadow. It only goes away at noon. But anytime between when the sun comes up and the sun goes down, that shadow is there. And it's really helpful to be with a crew of people who actually get that. But what else is there to do about this whole AI thing? What else is there to do to prepare yourself for it? Well, the number one thing, if you're already working as a talent and bringing in some kind of income with it, even small, even the occasional gig, is start working on developing strong personal contacts with people, because it's a lot harder to send a person away than it is to send AI away. AI is always there. It'll be there tomorrow if you need it. You won't disappoint an AI bot if you tell them you don't have any work today. So building those personal contacts with decision makers is a tool that you can use to keep yourself working and to generate more work. Because the one thing that decision makers like as much or more than a quick solution that requires nothing is feeling like they're giving their work to somebody who gives a shit about it. I imagine I just blurred out my mouth there. Whatever. Truth time. But fostering those connections are one of the greatest tools you have as a talent, no matter what level you're on. Now, to refer back to that interview that I did with Paul, and we were talking primarily about pay-to-play sites, a lot of us in this industry, at many different levels, don't even use pay-to-play sites. We have our income coming in because of the relationships that we fostered years ago. And now, in my case, I'm not talking about some relationship that I developed 25, 30 years ago when I did a little time in broadcasting. I'm talking about relationships that I developed in the last 5 or 6 years. They're what pays my bills, because they don't even consider another voice. They just give me work, knowing and having confidence in my ability to get the work done in a timely manner with very high quality in a delivery style that they want. That's a big help. But now, what else is there to do? I mean, at some point, the whole VO landscape in the next 5 or so years is going to really shift tectonically. And the jobs are going to start disappearing, particularly those low-hanging fruit jobs. Why? Because it's going to be a lot faster to get them done with AI. Once AI makes it as a voice, those little jobs from some content creator off in somewhere stand, they're going to go to AI because they won't have to worry about things like language barriers. They won't have to worry about conversion of currency. It will just be so easy. It will be absolutely undeniable. And you're going to be shut out of those opportunities. We won't even see them anymore. All these websites that allow you to pitch for jobs for pennies, those jobs won't even be posted there anymore. Mark my words, they won't. I'm already starting to see the impact of this in certain places online where I often source for work. It's like an empty hallway now. What are you going to do? So, another thing to take into consideration is this. You know, in the voiceover world, and you've heard me talk about it plenty, is this concept of niche or niching down, right? Being the biggest fish in your very particular small pond. And I do that. I've got certain things that I am in that would definitely be considered niche. And I am the biggest fish in that little puddle. So I get the work. But I can even feel my niche shrinking. I should say I can feel my niches shrinking. So what am I doing to combat that and to future-proof myself and my business? I'm diversifying my offerings. I don't just do voiceover work. And frankly, I haven't just done voiceover work in years. Because even back in 2015-16, the number of competitors was going up. The number of jobs was already going down. Now, don't get me wrong, it's still a great time to get into VO.
I'm so damn confused.
But it's incumbent upon me to get you to understand the landscape you're stepping out into. And really, one of the last things you should be really practicing doing in this industry right now is what in business speak they call being nimble. And being nimble essentially is a fancy way of saying, get ready to be Johnny or Jenny on the spot. Now, doing that has provided me a lot of work and a lot of income because, again, content creators like things easy, simple, and fast. And if I see something, I hit it right away with an audition. I'm one of the first people in the gate. I have very high quality production standards. And frankly, if they give me the entire script, but say they only want a little bit of it done, I run the whole thing. I do the whole thing. I assume that and send it to them. Because 9 times out of 10, they'll go with somebody who really already has the work done. Easy, simple, fast. You're going to need to position yourself that way. You're going to need to be able to do that. The days of AI coming for our jobs, it's not arriving. It's here. It is here. We can real time replace somebody's voice with somebody else's voice, with modulation, inflection, meter, pacing, disfluences, all the things that make us as human beings. I don't want you to feel despair about this.
Sure, right, Garth, as if.
But again, I feel it's my responsibility to tell you guys what's really going on. Am I bailing out of voiceover? Nah, I'm a lifer. But in order to be a lifer, There's got to be some life there. And life has a way of surviving against the greatest challenges the universe has ever thrown at us. I'm not here to philosophize and say if that's going to stay happening. But just remember, one of the number one jobs in New York City at the turn of the century were horseshoers, farriers. And within 5 years, they were selling horse meat.